Reed is accused of fatally striking her Boston police officer boyfriend John O'Keefe with her car during a snowstorm back in 2022. Her defense, though, claims a massive cover-up by local law enforcement. Before I bring in my guest, let's take a closer look at the evidence in the case against Karen Reed. Here's our own Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson now to walk us through the crime scene.
We're here in Canton, Massachusetts. This is just outside of Boston. And on January 28, 2022, Karen Reed and John O'Keefe went out drinking. They went drinking here at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Around midnight, the bars begin to close. So everybody is invited back to Jennifer's sister's house, which, according to GPS, is about an 8-minute drive. Let's go check it out. They eventually make their way here to Fairview Road in Canton and at this house. This house was owned by Brian and Nicole Albert. At the time, Brian was a good friend of theirs and also a police officer. Now, what happens next is what this case is all about. Prosecutors say that the couple actually got into a fight, and when O'Keefe exited the car, Karen Reed backed over him, leaving him to die in the curb here in front of this house during the snowstorm. Police collected a lot of evidence at the scene, including what appeared to be a broken cocktail glass with blood around it, and also a broken taillight. Now, Reed says when she pulled up to the house here, she wanted to know if the couple was really invited. It was late at night. So she watched John O'Keefe walk up to the front door over there. And when he didn't return to the car and didn't return her phone call, that's when she said she went to his house and fell asleep. The next morning, Karen Reed hasn't heard from John, so she starts making phone calls, and then she comes back here to the last place she says that she saw him, over at this house on Fairview. And that's when he's discovered, lying in the snow dead. Now, Reed's defense says a very different story. They say that John was actually beaten up in the basement of this house and attacked by the family dog. They claim that he was dragged outside and left in the snow to die. Now, being here on Fairview Road in Canton, a few things come to mind. Why didn't someone see anything? Because the neighborhood, it's fairly dense. The houses are close together. But you have to keep in mind that this happened in January, in the middle of the night, and it was also a snowstorm, whiteout conditions. Now, another key for the defense is the snowplow driver who said that he cleared Fairview Road here the morning that John O'Keefe was found dead. He claims that he didn't see a body in the road or near the road.
All right, let's welcome our guest for this hour, criminal defense attorney Laura Yaretsian. Thank you, of course, for joining me this hour to talk about the Karen Reed case. All right, court is dark. A lot of evidence is presented. The second trial has been very different than the first trial. You have a different prosecutor. You have a different presentation of evidence. You have different evidence being presented, including yesterday, a witness about some of the evidence that was found. I want to talk specifically about the fact that there was testimony yesterday, Laura, that some of the tail light, there was trace evidence of it on John O'Keefe's clothing. I think that makes a pretty good connection.
Of course it does. I mean, it basically, as far as the prosecution is concerned, they're gonna argue that there was contact between the vehicle or the taillight and John O'Keefe's body, and hence the transference. That's an easy one, but we'll have to see what the defense is going to do, because I bet you they've got some experts themselves who are going to be challenging this.
Really great point. I think that they will as well. But talk about the third-party culprit defense, because the judges ruled that they're not allowed to use that unless the door is open. But it doesn't mean they can't argue that something else happened to her, that something else happened inside him, rather, John O'Keefe, that something else happened inside that house. Do you think that this time around it's smart to say something happened inside the house, he was dragged outside, the dog attacked him, or do you think perhaps a broader defense of many things could have happened because there's not enough evidence that she hit him with the car? Would that have been a better way to go, maybe?
Look, the defense counsel are going to basically do whatever they think is best for their client, and in this case, how do you ignore that something may have happened inside that house? So where else could it have happened, right? If anything else had happened, maybe outside of the home, and it did not involve Karen Reed, someone would have seen it, someone at the house would have known it. But the idea that there's all these injuries that don't necessarily jive and are not necessarily consistent with a backwards fall, right, where his fractures are on the skull, are going to make anybody on that jury wonder how he got those injuries. And it's going to be clear to anyone on that jury, especially in light of the fact that we had a medical examiner testify that she couldn't find any impact injury on the legs. If this was for example, if this was a collision, we would have seen that, right? So in light of that, a jury is going to wonder what else could have happened. So it could have been inside, it could be something, whatever it is. Bottom line is the injuries that we have are not all the injuries are consistent with a collision. Something else would have happened, and that argument is going to be out there.
And anything else happening, if there's even one juror that believes, no, something else happened, that's all it takes, at least for a hung jury, if not a lack of a conviction. And let's talk about Karen Reed herself. The fact that she gave many interviews and that this time the prosecution is using those words against her. Let's watch a little bit and circle back.
I gave an interview with ABC with Matt Gutman. I think this was whom I gave the interview to, and I said, he asked, why was I saying, could I hit him, did I hit him? And I said, yeah, my first thought was, I'd been out late, I'd been drinking, and he's in the general vicinity of where I last saw him. I mean, they talk about the left side of the property and the right as if it's, you know, Hammersmith Farms. It's a postage stamp. It's 50 feet. So he's in the front yard to the left of the front door, and no one's coming out of the house. Jen's telling me nobody's seen him. So I'm thinking, Jesus, was I starting to pull away and I ran over his foot? Like, he's roughly where I left him. So yeah, when I found him, I was thinking, did I like clip him?
You know, so many viewers are split on the words that she said. I hit him. Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? At the end of the day, a very split reaction in the public to it means she did it. She admitted it versus maybe she was just asking, did I hit him? Could I hit him? Trying to explain it. It doesn't mean that she hit him. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are the latter. I mean, this is something that she's finding out herself. She's in a shock herself. And how many times have we doubted ourselves? Or did I do this? And it takes you a minute or a moment to think back, could I have hit him? Or could I have done this? And that's exactly what she's doing. And that's so human and that's so natural. And I think that's an easy one for the defense to overcome, honestly. It's more real and it's more believable. But once she had the time, especially with the defense team that she has, and they've gone through the evidence, it's pretty clear that yes, it was normal for her to doubt herself for a second and to wonder if she did something. But at the end of the day, when you look at the evidence, the argument is going to be the evidence points otherwise.
Yeah, and then we just saw the video we were just watching where she backed up her car, and you can see it hits the other cars. The other car kind of bounces. So that's something the defense, of course, will use as well.